Let's see. There we go. Who is this? Ooh, I hear my tea. Grand Rising. Grand Rising, family. I hear my tea brewing. Grand Rising. Yes, we're going to talk about financial abundance that's being released on the planet this morning. Grand Rising. I can't see anybody, but I'm assuming people are here. Grand Rising. Hi, family. Joyous Rising. Good morning. I tried to add a few people to the broadcast this morning. I'm hoping Sister Deidre Russell is here with me because she has an intuitive gift, and hoping she will help me to interpret this dream I had. One moment, I have to get my tea. Good morning. Grand Rising, family. Joyous Rising. This is Dr. Kia, and it is, I think it's Wednesday, December the 22nd. 3 more days before Christmas, 1 day after the winter solstice, and a few days before the new year of 2022. And if you know numerology, you know that the numbers 222 are very important and very significant. Grand Rising, Joyous Rising. I wanted to have some music this morning, but you know, because of copyright claims, I don't know what I'm allowed to put online. But I just wanted to come on this morning because I had a download at about 5:30 a.m. It was between 5:30 and 5:35. And I just thought it was amazing. I wanted to share it with my family. All the things that the universe has been speaking to me. As you all know, if you've been a part of my timeline, a part of my soul family, I don't want to say you're my followers, you're my soul family, because we feed each other and we encourage each other and we lift each other up. If you've been a part of my timeline, you know that I do my best to stay positive, to stay encouraging, to remain joyous, because that is my gift. I have a gift of discernment, a gift of prophecy, and a gift of joy and encouragement to share with the planet, as do you. Somebody said, bring them on the camera. Oh, okay. Hi. So that is my gift. And because it is my gift, I want to share it with you. And as more people join in, I do realize that I grew up in a church that taught women that if you prophesy or pray, you're supposed to have your head covered. And I thought about that because, I don't know, when I felt my most powerful is actually when my head is uncovered and my hair is out. And I realized that that's because our hair serves as antenna where we receive messages from the sun and we receive messages from our ancestors. And that's why indigenous people would grow their hair long. And when they became colonized, the colonizers, when they go across the globe, they shave the head of the indigenous people, because that is the means by which indigenous people would receive messages and downloads from the creator, the sun, and their ancestors. So the Masons actually have it correct, as well as the Moors, that the men are supposed to cover their heads when they are receiving messages, and also to cover their heads in respect and regard and reverence to the woman who gave him life. So the Bible would talk about the woman covering her head, but the man not covering his head. But it actually should be in reverse. The man should cover his head in honor and reverence and respect to his creatress, or the woman. And that's why the Moors would wear a fez. The cap represented the womb, and then you have the cord on the fez, and then a tassel. So the tassel represented the umbilical cord, and the fez, of course, represents the womb. And so Moors by nature and Masons know that you are to honor and reverence and respect the woman as the creatress of and the giver of life. So that's neither here nor there. For all my Christian friends, that's why my head is not covered, because I believe that the man should have his head covered and not the woman. Anyway, this morning I had a download and I wanted to share it with my family, with you all, my soul family. And what I saw was a vault. It was a great big vault. And I hope Deidre is here. So maybe Deidre can pull the cards. She is a seer. Her name is Deidre Russell. She's on Facebook. I really encourage you all to friend her because she's a very powerful woman who naturally discerns things through her gift, the card to teach you things about your life and help you to see into the future. So I hope she's here to bring clarity to this. I saw a large vault. And in this vault, I'm getting chills. In this vault, thank you, Creator, I saw massive amounts of bags of coins being released into the vault. And the coins, you all know I'm a proponent of silver because we have silver receptors in our brain, which means that your brain responds to silver, and your body is made of silver, and it reacts to silver, which is why I'm a very strong proponent of silver. Silver is going to be very important in this next reality in which we're going. But I saw massive amounts, can you see this, of silver just being poured into vaults, like bags, just hi King, just like dumped into this large vault. And it was just money coming from everywhere like manna from heaven. And as I was receiving a download from the Creator, what I heard was massive amounts of abundance are about to be released on the planet. And it's going to be like a huge thunderous amount of joy where people are going to be excited and ecstatic and overwhelmed with happiness and joy and glee and elation. And this thunderous joy will sweep the entire planet. People are going to start noticing from nowhere that their accounts are going to be full of just money, and they're not going to know where it's coming from. People are going to start picking up the phone and saying, my mortgages have been discharged. It just says paid in full. People are going to start calling each other and saying, my car note is being paid off. My credit card debt has been erased. And this is going to go on all across the globe, like manna from high, if you all know the story of the children of Israel, where they were in the wilderness and they were traveling through and they couldn't find food to eat. And they were like in a desert, That's how our life has been. It has been a desert situation where we've been going through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and we didn't know where food was coming from. And we were on every hand, all the money was being extracted from us. Well, the Creator said that all these things will be like a fleeting memory when all this wealth is released on the planet. So I want to encourage you today to hold your vibrations high. It's happening, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's going to happen so fast. This new incoming rush of joy, of beauty, of love, of peace, of abundance is going to happen very, very quickly. And it's going to be compensation for the pain that we have endured. So I don't know exactly where this money is coming from, but I will tell you all that there's such thing as called the Saint Germain Trust. And I'm going to do a video on the Saint Germain Trust, but off the top of my head, Saint Germain Trust is from Saint Germain, who is an ascended master. An ascended master is a being who has been highly evolved, and over time, he has evolved so much that he comes back. He comes back to the planet through different incarnations, and his name is Saint Germain. He created a trust for humanity for this time in order to release this abundance. So I want to encourage you all to know that this is happening. So turn off anything that looks negative, because that is just a distraction to keep you from what's about to happen. When it happens, give reverence to the Creator. When it happens, those of you who have a humanitarian heart, create humanitarian projects to help those people that are being reintegrated into society from prison. Because when this massive abundance comes on the earth, people who were unlawfully put in prison will be released into society, but they won't know how to, some of them won't know how to act. They won't know how to live because they've been enslaved in the prisons. So some of you will have the charge to use this newfound wealth to create programs to reintegrate these people into society. Use the money, this humanitarian money, also to feed the hungry and the homeless. So that's what I wanted to say, that massive amount of funds are about to be released. In addition to this, there is going to be a flood of energies of joy and beauty and peace and harmony. So I'm saying this because this is important to the woman. It's important for everybody, but it's very important to the woman. And I have some notes here because I wanted to remember this. What has happened in the last few years is a lot of men have lost their mothers to, unforeseen death, or, maybe they transition or whatever. And what happened was, when men have their mothers as their central figure, they reverence her, they respect her, and they love her. But sometimes when she's there as the central figure of their lives and she's providing them the nourishment that he needs, he doesn't necessarily make the connection between his mother and the other women in his family. So society has taught men not to reverence and respect women. But by nature, he knows to reverence and respect his mother. But society has encouraged him to exploit women, to disrespect women, to traffic women, to be abusive to women. Not all men. A lot of men are highly involved and know not to do that. But what happened in the last 5 to 10 years is a lot of men actually lost their mothers. And when they lost the central figure of their lives, now what is happening is now men are looking to reconnect with their source of life. So they're going to be looking to reconnect with you all, ladies. They're going to be looking for wives. They're going to be looking for a life partner. They're going to be looking for a companion to feed their soul, to strengthen and encourage them, to love them, to nurture them. And that is very important to us. So women, this is your time. You've been suppressed. Your beauty has been suppressed. Your voice has been suppressed. Your kind, loving nature, joyous nature has been suppressed. But these new energies that are flooding into the planet, it's going to awaken that in you, and men will seek that from you, and it's going to be a whole different reality. So this is what I want to say. In addition to this massive wealth that will be released on the planet, it will change the dynamics of the planet, and new energies of feminine energies will flood the planet. Now, hold that thought, because I listened to a video by Taj Tariq Bey, who is known as the Grand Sheik of the Moors. And he was reading a book from the Ku Klux Klan, and I thought it was very important. Now, I used to not read books by other people, that would maybe make me angry, or people who were known to not like indigenous people. But it's important what he said. It's important to read to know what's in the minds of other people. And this is what the Ku Klux Klan have said, and it's very important in one of their documents. They said the secret political, genetic, and economic motivating key to the Ku Klux Klan is the firmly held position that this is the unwavering truth. Nature holds the woman as the central generating power of life and the key to civilization. That is the truth. I'll read that again. Nature holds this is an unwavering truth. Nature holds woman as the central generating power of life and the key to civilization. The natural and political truth prevails that genetics and economics are one. That comes from the Ku Klux Klan's book, but it's a truth. Nature holds this as a truth, that the woman is the central generating power of life and the key of civilization. And this is why the woman has been suppressed in religion. This is why the woman has been suppressed in society, because we give life. We are natural generators of life. We sustain life. We feed our children. We feed our men. We feed the planet with love, with nurturing, with beauty, with softness, with femininity. And so what happened was there was a massive agenda to masculinize the woman so that we can become hardened and angry and bitter. And some of that came from the mistreatment that we received. So with this new energy that's flooding into the planet, it's going to be very important for women to tap into the loving side of you. A lot of wealth now that was only released to men will also be released to women. So this is important because when posterity and prosperity was only given to the man and funneled through the man and his seed, it's only natural for a man to only be concerned about his seed. There's nothing wrong with that. That's natural for a man to want to preserve his seed. So a man may not look out for other children. It's not his natural inclination. It's to provide and protect for what's his. But what happened was that made it easier for women to be trafficked, for women to be persuaded to become models and sex traffickers, and for women to be mistreated, and for women themselves to even put themselves in bad positions as strippers, and women put themselves in position to traffic themselves and to traffic their children because they needed access to money. Well, with this new energy flooding the planet, the new feminine energy will make sure that prosperity is also released to women, because by nature, women is the central key of life, and women will make sure that everybody has wealth. A woman will make sure that all her children has some prosperity regardless of who the father is. And that's why in matriarchy, the prosperity came through the woman. So this isn't to cause any divisiveness. This is just to say that now we're going to have more equality. We're going to see a more egalitarian way of life. You're going to see more joy, more peace, more love, more beauty, more abundance. So ladies, tap into your beauty. Tap into your softness. Tap into your femininity. Tap into your joy. Because men are going to seek that out in this new era. So whereas before you had a lot of women that started becoming hardened and masculinized, and you had women doing things like wanting to be just like men with their sexual behavior and, not giving an F and just being hardened. And, it was a massive, massive agenda to cause women to be like that so that we wouldn't heal the planet. But with this new energy flooding the planet, that's all going to change. So all my artists, men and women, start creating more. Start creating your art. Start tapping into that gift that you have of beauty, because that's going to heal the planet. All my musicians that couldn't make money because you wouldn't sell out your soul, because you wouldn't kill your family family members just for $1, because you wouldn't sacrifice to Satan, because you wouldn't give in and you wouldn't change your gender just to make money. All my musicians, this is your time. All my artists, musicians, poets, really go into a massive creative mode of being creative and exhibiting your art and your music. Make it loving, make it joyous, make it peaceful, make it beautiful, so that you too can heal the planet. So I don't have too much more to say, except that we do know that Barbados has made an official announcement that they are now sovereign. Yes, Grand Rising. Who else? Zimbabwe made an announcement that they are now sovereign. Iraq just paid off all their debt to Kuwait, and that means they now will come out of Chapter 7, and all of the sanctions that were held against them will be lifted, which is very important to those of you who are invested in the Iraqi dinar and the Zimbabwean zim and some of the other currencies. But if you are not invested in those currencies, it's okay. You're going to have wealth as well, because the planet has made it so that the massive money is going to be released, and it's going to be real money. I brought up the sovereignty of these nations because I've been saying for many, many years, well, it's not been that long. Let me stop trying to give myself all this credit. That 209 countries agreed behind the scenes to become sovereign, and they agreed to release themselves from the slavery of the central banking system. The reason why I say this is because once you're going to start hearing countries say that they're now sovereign. And once you hear that, what that will mean is that there will no longer be a control over us. There will no longer be beings on the planet that will hold everybody enslaved. So once these people announce that they have become sovereign, that means their money will also be sovereign, or they will have more control over their finances, their economic situation, and their money. And so what will happen is there's going to be a global currency reset. So what a global currency reset means is that the financial system as we know it, that had been controlled by elite bankers, which are actually non-human extraterrestrials, and they're human hybrids with whom they made it so that they can keep the bloodline going and maintain controls over the people and over our finances. So what it means is when they become sovereign is that these people and these beings no longer have control over their money. So the reset will restart the economic and financial system, and it will be based on gold, silver, and the natural resources of each country. And when that happens, each country's currency will be 1-to-1. So you will be able to exchange or do business with every country with your currency, because it will be 1-to-1, and it will be based on the natural resources of each country. That is what the global currency reset is, which is different from the Great Reset. Now, the Great Reset is what the nefarious beings had planned to do, was to reset a system to make everybody buy into their one coin, their one world monetary system, which was another system of enslavement. That is not, Great Reset is not the global currency reset. The global currency reset is a benevolent gift from the galactic family, galactic brothers and sisters, and the creator, which is on the planet to liberate humanity. So when this global currency reset happens, financial abundance will be released upon the planet. And those of you who hold currencies, even paper currencies in those countries, will be able to exchange it 1-to-1 and will have a tremendous amount of wealth. And the reason why some of you have been tapped on the shoulder, I've contacted some of you that have a humanitarian heart, but the Creator has allowed some of you to know about this, because you all will be the humanitarians that will release humanitarian projects to help elevate the planet and liberate the planet. So that is the global currency reset. And then there's something called a revaluation of currencies, or the RV. So a few years ago, when you saw President Trump on his Twitter account with a RV, a real RV, he said on a tweet, he said, "My wife wants to travel around the world in her RV." So what those of us who are in the intel community that love to decode understood that he was saying that this is his baby. He's been working on this to release massive wealth. So this RV about which he was speaking was actually a revaluation. So your monetary systems, or your dollars, or your fiat, your paper money, will be revalued and reset to its natural state, to its normal value based on the currencies or based on the resources of that country. So it's important to know that, because things are going to change all across the globe. And what will happen is the people who have come to America to work to earn money that are from different countries, they will be able to then go back to their countries once the reset happens and the financial abundance has been released. They'll be able to go back to their countries and live with their families and create humanitarian projects and live amongst their communities and rebuild their societies, while we focus on America. And so that will make everybody happy. And although it won't make up completely for what we've been through as humanity, as a race of beings, it will compensate us some. Because it's very important for us to understand that what happened was there was a group of what I call nefarious beings. And somebody say, get out of my head. I call them nefarious, but I don't know if it's necessary to call them nefarious, because it's just how they were built. But they came to the planet and they enslaved us. And what they did was they pit one group of people against another group of people, and they suppress. What they did was they tried to kill off the indigenous people of the planet, so that they can, because the indigenous people were in tune to the planet, and they understood the planet. They understood how to run the planet. They understood the resources of the planet. They understood that silver and gold feeds your pineal gland, feeds your body, feeds your essence. That silver and gold actually allows you to tap into your psychic powers. That silver and gold actually resonate with your body. It heals you. So if you kill off the indigenous people of the planet, then you can gain the resources of the planet, because the other people that came on after the indigenous people may not have had all that knowledge passed down to them. So these nefarious beings understood the resources of the planet, and they came to the planet to take the resources in order to heal in order to heal their planets, and to heal themselves, and because for whatever reason they enjoyed our resources. So they killed a lot of the indigenous people and enslaved them. And their plan was to, once they oppressed the indigenous people to so much, or it killed enough of them off to the extent that there wasn't a lot of them, then they planned to enslave the others, or the ones that came after the indigenous people. So what they did was they pit, I'm trying not to make this a race thing, black and white, Asian, they pit everybody against each other. But the overall scheme was to enslave the entire planet, to take from the resources of the planet, and then to use the small fraction that was left on the planet to make us their slaves. So that was their plan, and it was working very, very, very well. If Hillary Clinton had won, we would be in concentration camps right now. So what happened was there was a faction of the military who understood the old treaties between the Europeans that came here, our European brothers and sisters that came here. People call them European hybrids because the original Europeans were actually melanated. And so the ones that are not melanated came from us. But we're all one family. People don't like to say that, but I'll say it. We're all one family. So what happened was, I'm sorry, I lost my thought, but what happened was they figured that if they could pit us against each other, then they could enslave us and use the small fraction of us as their slaves. Hillary Clinton didn't win because the Galactic Federation decided that although we were left on this planet to evolve, other nefarious beings came on the planet while we were trying to evolve, and they put in programs to keep us from evolving. Racism, hatred, discrimination, sexism, sex trafficking, human trafficking, all these programs they instilled to keep us from evolving. But the benevolent group of extraterrestrials that actually helped to seed us on this planet have returned and took those nefarious extraterrestrials off the planet so that we could evolve. And they stopped the program. They did not allow Hillary Clinton to win. And so what they did was contacted some of the military and the politicians who they've always had a relation with, whom they've always had a relationship. And they let them know that we're here to help you to liberate the planet. But what we need, military, is for you all to recruit more people to help us fight the human hybrids that have helped the extraterrestrials to enslave the planet. We need you all to help us fight them, and we need you all to select a person who cannot be easily persuaded by sex trafficking, human trafficking, money, or whatever to turn on us once we select somebody to liberate humanity. So a lot of people did not want to hear this, but what happened was it's called the GAR. I can't remember what it actually stands for. Yes, Space Force. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Goddess Cecilia L. Space Force had a relationship with the extraterrestrials and our military. And so what they did was they found a man by the name of Donald John Trump to lead in the efforts of being the head of the military to dismantle those systems that oppressed humanity. And they decided to fight with him in charge. And the reason why they chose Donald Trump is because he actually has a connection to John F. Kennedy Sr. and John F. Kennedy Jr. And he's also related, allegedly, to General Patton. So a lot of these things that we're seeing now have been planned for thousands of years, but we're just seeing it in our reality. And some of it has actually played out in other timelines, and we're just here to witness it because we chose to be here to see this. And so they chose Donald Trump because of his relationship to General Patton, and if you look at the pictures side by side, you can see the resemblance. And because he has a relationship with John F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy Jr., who also wanted to dismantle this nefarious system that was controlled by extraterrestrial nefarious beings. And they chose him also because he was already a billionaire and he could not be controlled by the so-called elite. And as my son Dexter, who was Dexter Elijah Darrell, some of you all know him by Darrell, as an economist, he has studied this at length. And my son Douglas, they studied economics, and my daughter NESARA and David, they studied business and economics. I went into sociology, psychology, and politics. I don't know, but what they taught me was that when you already have money, but the elite won't allow you in their clique, then you have a natural desire to get back at them, a natural inclination to show them that they did something, they made a mistake by not treating you as if you were worthy of being treated as an elite. So they chose Donald Trump again because he could not be tricked, he could not be He could not be wooed. And they can't say, we'll give you money if you turn on the people. He already has his money. And so they chose him to be over the military to take down these nefarious beings. And people have asked me, why is he arrogant? Why is he so disrespectful? Why is he a shit talker? Why is he so nasty? You're talking about the most nefarious, most evil, most wicked, most despicable beings on the planet with whom he has to deal. You cannot play nice. You cannot play nice with the devil. You cannot be kind and disrespectful to the devil. You have to treat the devil with the tool, with language and tools that he understands. First of all. Secondly, a lot of you don't know what these people and politicians in power have said about you, about me, about we the people, or about the military. Donald Trump has all this information. So when he's coming out and he's firing at them and he's being nasty and he's being disrespectful, you might see him being disrespectful to a lady, but some of these ladies are not ladies. Some of these ladies are actually extraterrestrials that have cloaked themselves as ladies. So he's talking to demons. And some of these ladies are not just ladies. They are born into nefarious groups that have raped women, that have raped children, that have trafficked children. So he's speaking. When you come from a church or a spiritual realm, you know that sometimes you speak into the spirit of people. You don't have time to be concerned about their flesh. You don't have time to be concerned about their emotions. You don't have time to be making them feel good or placate them. You speak to the spirit and you talk to them in a language in which they understand. So yes, he is a man with the ego. Yes, he is a man that has some arrogance. Yes, he is a man that speaks what he says and says what he means. But that's the type of man you have to be if you are going to lead a military operation to take down global enslavement. A lot of men can't resonate with that because they've been effeminized, because they don't know how to take charge anymore, because they haven't learned to protect women and children and the planet, so we're talking about the art of war. There are actually war manuals, not just, there's a book called The Art of War. There's a book called The 48 Laws of Power. I read both of them. But there are also military books that tell you how to deal with these beings when you are at war. And all my people here that are right here that have served in the military, you cannot be nice. You cannot play nice. These people, as Goddess Cecilia L. have said, they are monsters. So this is why Donald Trump was chosen, because he's not afraid to deal with them. You cannot be politically correct. Trump is not a politician. He's a businessman. Those of you that do business, you understand Donald Trump. I spoke to my friend Ricky from Portsmouth, Ohio yesterday, and he was saying, look, a lot of people who look like you and me didn't know the man. He said, but I'm a businessman. I don't have time to deal with people's feelings. I'm about my money. And Donald Trump helped me with my business and helped me to grow. So I don't have time to be concerned about what somebody's skin color looks like. I'm concerned about what are you doing for the people. Yes, Ronnie Lake says Trump was speaking in codes and some people took it personal. That's right. But he was talking to the United States corporation. He's not talking to you. So people have asked me, why is he pushing the jab? Why is he telling people to take the booster? First of all, we're at war. Now I'm going to say something that a lot of people may not understand. Let me sip my tea. We are at war. And we've been at war for thousands of years. When you are at war, first, yes, you speak in codes. And that's why it's important for all of us to have the spirit of discernment so that we can understand whether or not he's actually saying to do something that's harmful or if he's speaking directly to the people who are interviewing him. Secondly, Donald Trump told you all from the beginning to take hydroxychloroquine, HCQ. He told you all that there were ultraviolet methods to deal with the C word to cure you, and people laughed him to scorn. The media said that he told you all to drink bleach, and some of us ran with that and said he's an idiot. He told you to drink bleach. That's not what he said. He said that there's ultraviolet light and ultraviolet light modalities that help cure you, and he told you to try that. He had to come back and apologize for saying that because people went on a massive campaign to make him look like an idiot. Yes or no? Secondly, when he said to, yes, you should take the shot or the booster, which booster was he saying to take? Which method was he asking you to do? Was he even talking to you, or was he talking to the people to whom he was being interviewed? Secondly, what's his name? Dick Gregory told you all that there are two Trumps. There's a red tie Trump and there's a blue tie Trump. Did he not say that? Yes, he did. He said the red tie Trump is the correct one. The blue tie Trump is not the real Trump. Now, that might have been his clone, his double. I don't know. So these are the things you have to discern. Which Trump is speaking? Is it the red tie Trump? Is it the blue tie Trump? We're at war, and it may not make sense, but it's making sense to a lot of you who can discern, to a lot of you who are on the same vibrations as me. Which one is speaking? Yes, he said disinfect, and they ran with it, and they said they ran with the word bleach. Thank you. Which one is speaking, and to whom is he speaking? Thirdly, what I want to say to you all is human beings have to learn to be discerning. Human beings have to learn to take responsibility and accountability for your own life. You don't need a leader to tell you what to do and what not to do. So a lot of this that we're going through right now is for our evolution so that we can learn a lesson. You mean to tell me you need a president to tell you what to do for your own body? You need a doctor? You need somebody outside of you to tell you how to cure and heal yourself, when even the scripture says that the Creator left herbs here and plants here for the healings of the nation. Why do you need somebody else to tell you what to do for your body? You haven't learned. A lot of us have not learned our lesson yet. But we will see a lot of people who will choose to not use their thinking, their ability to research, because they unfortunately have to learn a lesson. With war comes casualties of war. My military people understand this. You might have to, sometimes your people, the people you're trying to liberate, will be sacrificed. I'm not saying Trump is doing this. I'm talking about when you talk about war, will be sacrificed for the greater good of humanity. Now, it's your responsibility not to be the one sacrificed. It's your responsibility to take charge of your own life. It's your responsibility to make sure that you are not the one that's being taken out. Right? So I did a video about what does it mean to be mandated. A mandate, when you look at the etymology in Black's Law Dictionary of a mandate is not a law. A mandate only becomes effective when a person agrees to accept it. So a mandate is only something that's necessary or that becomes law when you sovereign beings agree and says, I will subject myself to it. And that is why a lot of death is occurring right now, because we have not learned. Those people, either they made a contract to go that way because before they came to the planet, because maybe these are tired souls that just wanted to exit the planet, or maybe they didn't know, or maybe they were ignorant. But you have to take accountability and responsibility for your own life, is what I'm trying to say. You have to make sure that you're not in the way of being taken out in the middle of a war. And that's all I want to say on that. So protect yourself, protect your families, have silver. Don't miss out on the silver evolution. I'm going to transition into another topic. Don't miss out on the silver evolution or revolution. Silver helps you to evolve. Silver and gold taps and releases your psychic abilities. So what's happening right now is not only that, but silver will be used for solar panels. You can look at my video on YouTube called The Case for Silver, and my YouTube channel is Dr. Kia Pruitt. Silver is a conduit. Silver will be used in these new cars and free energy and all types of things. It serves industrial purposes. You have silver in your appliances, in your refrigerators, your stoves, your cell phones, your cars, as well as platinum and palladium in your catalytic converter. That's why they take your cars from you and tell you, oh, we'll take it. Just, you know, I don't care what kind of condition it's in. We'll come and tow it off your lot. Just get rid of it. Your old refrigerators and appliances and washer and dryers. Oh, just get rid of it. Don't do it. There may be a way for you to recruit that silver. So silver will be used, especially as we evolve into solar panels and using certain cars and free electricity and all that. And I don't even understand all of that. But imagine what's going to happen when Tesla and all these other companies say, I need billions of ounces of silver right now because I'm using this in these in the new technologies. Speaking of which, look up med beds, because med beds will heal us from all of these ailments. You'll be able to get in a med bed, MED-BED, and it will detect every ailment in your body and cure it on the spot. They're going to be released all over the planet, and you won't have any needs for hospitals, and eventually we'll all be able to have one in our home. But getting back to the technology, silver is going to be used for that. And when Tesla takes those off the market, well, he's not going to take silver off the market, but say he says, I need a bunch of silver, then what's going to happen is he's going to take a lot of it, and then that means silver will become even more valuable, and then the prices just naturally will shoot through the roof. So right now, silver is what, $23 an ounce? And then when you pay the premium, it's probably $25 or $26 an ounce right now. And the creator, so the bad people are suppressing the prices so that they can get all the silver that they need and to make you think silver isn't important. And also to, they're pushing cryptocurrencies, which I'm not going to get into that, so that to take your mind off of silver and gold, which, do both. If you don't know which is good, just make sure your portfolio is diversified. But they're suppressing the prices of silver and gold so that you can think it's worthless. But the creator is allowing that to happen so that you can get it. Okay? Everything that they do for your bad, the creator will allow it to happen for your good. So, ladies, sometimes your husbands give you money. I hear women that say, well, I don't know how to do it. I'm not a working mom, blah, blah. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Look. Your boyfriend gives you money. Your husband gives you money. There's money allotted for bills. Take a portion of that out to buy 1 ounce of silver at a time, a little bit of silver at a time, or a whole lot of silver. There is a way to amass wealth, but you have to, instead of saying, I can't, you have to ask yourself, how can I? And that's why people like me and people like many of you are here. We're trying to get that information out. Get you some silver. Don't miss out on this new timeline in which we're going, where silver will be the method, the means of exchange for things that you desire. So yes, some silver is better than none. Gold is good too. Gold has been used for money and for jewelry. It's just that silver has been used for a lot more than money. It's been used actually for technology and for those type of things. So in my conclusion, silver and gold are important. They're going to be released on the planet. If you notice the C word, or that virus is not called the coronavirus anymore. It's called something else, which actually came out a long time ago. I came across an article that talked about it actually being experimented on in 2001. It was an experimentation in 2001, and they actually had a remedy for it in 2001. And one of my friends did a broadcast on it, and he was saying that a journalist had said something about there was a remedy for COVID in 2001, and he made a joke about it. He's like, she's an idiot. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And I actually sent him an article that said, no, she's right. The media just tried to make her look like an idiot. It actually did come out in 2001. Here's the article. But they don't call it coronavirus anymore because corona is actually a banking term for gold. If you look at the etymology of the word corona, it actually means crown. And so what the bankers or the elite were speaking to each other when they were talking about the coronavirus, and what they were saying is that people are actually about to awaken, and we're getting ready to go into a golden era where people's crown chakra are going to be activated, and people are awakening to their Christ consciousness or their consciousness. They're becoming aware. They're understanding that they are gods. They're understanding that they are royalty. So we're going into a golden era where your crown or your chakra, your consciousness is being activated and awakened. So we have to do these things that we had planned to do quickly. So they were speaking in code, talking about coronavirus. And really, so those of us who understood that, who broke down the words, who looked at the etymology, who looked at Black's Law Dictionary, understood that, okay, this means that we're supposed to be hastening our awakening, and we're supposed to awaken our brothers and sisters by explaining what this corona really is about, that we're moving into a golden era. And so now that we're awakened, they're calling it COVID. So that's that. Oh, somebody said they're going to flag my video. I'm just going to, I hope not. Thank you for telling me that. I'll watch my words from now on. So just to recap and, to summarize what I was going to say, the Creator allowed me to see that massive wealth is being dumped on the planet, and it's going to happen quickly. So the money is going to just come in. It's just going to flood in. Your ideas are going to start. You're going to start awakening like really quickly. You're going to evolve in your ascension. Your ideas are going to start like coming. It's going to get beautiful, amazing ideas of how to create businesses. It's just going to start rushing in right now with these new energies. And so this new dispensation of beauty, love, wealth, harmony, peace, all that is going to happen. It was already determined years ago, and 209 countries agreed to it. So if you hear anything nefarious or negative, just have a mindset, I do not consent. It doesn't refer to me, and choose to be on a timeline of joy. Choose to listen to beautiful music. Choose to look at beautiful art. Ladies, choose to tap into your femininity. You will be the key in this next cycle. You will heal the planet. You will be the ones to whom men will come for their source of inspiration. They always have. Some of us didn't understand our power, and we allowed ourselves to be misguided, or because of our mistreatment and being suppressed, we fell into certain behaviors. But you are the key of life. That's a natural thing. What did they say? The book that from which Grand Sheik read, there's an unwavering truth that nature holds the woman as the central generating power of life and the key to civilization. You are the key, ladies, to civilization. You are the key that will unlock the joy and the peace and the love being released on the planet. And all my soul brothers who understand that and with whom that resonate, thank you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for being kind to us. Thank you for being respectful to us, because you will aid in this liberation. You will aid in uplifting and elevating the woman to her natural place. So women, do the work that you need to do. I think they call it shadow work. Heal from, we got to do some things. Take the necessary steps to heal, because you're the key to this new era. the divine feminine that's being released on the planet. And that's all I have to say. I do want to ask if there are any questions? Any questions about NESARA? Any questions about the global currency reset? Any questions about the revaluation of currencies? Speaking of which, if you have a Zim bond, read the top left-hand corner. It will say something to the effect of payable to the holder upon demand. So that is a bond. It is not currency. It is a bond. It is written on different type of paper. So when it's time to exchange this bond, you will be paid upon demand. So it is a promise to pay. It's different from currency. So if you have any questions about that, that is what the movie The Black Panther was about. It was about countries like Zimbabwe using their, I think the code word they used, at the time was it vibranium? They would use vibranium to liberate the planet. Because remember, Zimbabwe was once a great nation. They have lots of resources. They will be used to liberate the planet, their resources. But so will America's resources. A lot of people, see, true knowledge and true information will come out that America is actually Egypt, that America has pyramids, that America has gold and silver. America has lots of resources that are untapped. Much of it is stored in the Grand Canyon. And that's why they sectioned it off and not allow hikers to continue on in the Grand Canyon. And when it was discovered that all that gold and wealth was there, the Federal Reserve banking system was created in order to keep that information out of the psyche of the people. And they created a fiat dollar system to kind of divert our attention away from that. But what happened was there was a seal on the amount of gold that was kept there, but Donald Trump called for the release of that information. He wanted to know exactly what that inventory was in the Grand Canyon, because that is going to be used, as well as your trust from the St. Germain Trust and other trusts, your birth certificate bonds that were circulating on the stock market to make money for these nefarious beings. That money will be returned to you. Your Social Security card, that was a Social Security number that was used because it's a bank account actually number to generate money, it will be returned to you. So we have massive wealth on the planet, but also here in America. And so it's important for you to understand that the indigenous people in America have forgotten who we are. We think we're blacks. We think we're Negroes. We think we're niggas. We think we're coloreds. We don't understand that we are the indigenous Americans on the planet, and specifically in America. And that is why the 1828 Webster's definition of American is the copper-colored people found here by Christopher Columbus, but now also applied to the Europeans, because the indigenous people here are actually the so-called black people. The military will release that information. They are working for our good. I've been trying to tell people this that are indigenous, that look like me, that Donald Trump and the military are actually fighting on our behalf. They know the treaties. We've had treaties with the Europeans that came here. We agreed to get along with each other. Now, a fraction of them may have been indoctrinated and intercepted by the nefarious beings, extraterrestrials that came here, and thus they worked with them to enslave us, but that was not our original contract. Our original treaties was one in which we got along with one another. And so some of those descendants of those Europeans are actually fighting with the indigenous people to get rid of the central banking system, to get rid of those nefarious beings, to get rid of all those paradigms, and to go back to respecting the treaties. So the treaties will come back online, and all the treaty of friendship that we had between the Europeans that were here, those will be honored. All treaties will be honored. The money that we have here, the gold, the silver, all that's going to be released. All that's going to be honored. The true history of the indigenous people that are here, that are called black, Negro, or whatever, it will be honored. It will be brought back to the light. And other nations know who we are. And what happened behind the scenes was some of them refused to keep making agreements with the nefarious New World Order people who were in power because they understood the Moorish dynasty, and they understood that in the beginning that the indigenous people actually had a treaty with people from all over the planet. And that's not to say that the Moors or the so-called indigenous people were all good. That's not true. A lot of us were not good, which is why we're in the predicament that we're in, because some of us were very greedy. Some of us were very murderous. Some of us did a lot of nefarious things to our European brothers and sisters, like enslaving the women, raping the women, killing off a great portion of them. That's where your word slave actually come from, the Slavics, who were the first slaves. We were not the first slaves. So some of us, even to this day, have an agreement with secret societies to keep the masses blind, and to keep indigenous people poor and on their knees and groveling. But that time period is over because the Creator has said enough. And the Creatress has said enough. People talk about Inky and Enlil helping to seed human beings on the planet, but they don't speak of what's her name? Nimna is one of her names. And then I think another name is NESARA. She's the female extraterrestrial that came to seed beings on the planet. I've had encounters with her in many, many dreams. She is back. She is the one that actually gave me information and let me know that the planet is being liberated. And I did a video about that in 2018. She came to me in 2017 and told me that the New World Order would not be allowed to prevail, that she and her people were back to liberate us, and that I was to tell as many people as possible to raise their vibrations, because they use our vibrations to help liberate the planet. So I've had meetings with her and these beings who are very melanated. When I saw them, they had on white and they had their head. A lot of them had dreadlocks, what they call dreadlocks or locks. They had them wrapped up, and some people had their head covered in these white wraps. So they are working with the military. They and other extraterrestrial beings who have all kinds of colors and shades, and some of them don't even have a color. You all will meet your extraterrestrial family. So it's important for us as the so-called races of humans to get along with each other and to learn to live on this planet and love each other. Because if we cannot get along with each other, we won't be able to deal with having a relationship with the extraterrestrials that are about to present themselves. So I really want to answer questions. Is there anybody that has a question or wants to make a statement before I get off? I just wanted to bring the good news that there's going to be massive change. So again, make sure you tap into your creative side and start making music so you can replace that music that's talking about thugging and killing and thotting and hoeing and sexing and drugging and trafficking of children. You can replace that with your high vibrational music. You can replace the art of what's her name, Abramovich, and all that bloody art with your loving, peaceful, beautiful art. So I want to leave this time for, I know people have questions because I have questions in my inbox all the time. I have questions. Listen, people who have a heart for humanity will not charge you to give you truth, in my humble opinion. Okay, so from your heart, if somebody's helping you, just if you have it, bless them in any kind of way that you can. Send a prayer to them. When I used to do life coaching, people would give me like concert tickets or, like piece of fruit, just anything as a means to say thank you. But I never charge for truth. It's just not who I am. So I'm going to wrap up. Does anybody want to say anything? You have any questions? I did answer the question about the jab. You don't know which Donald Trump said take it. If you want to take a modality for healing, take the one that's natural. Be responsible for your own life. Stop looking to leaders to tell you what to do. You are your leader. You are the God that will liberate yourself. When do you think this will happen? Sister Rhonda asked. I think it's going to happen. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome, Goddess Cecilia L. It's going to happen very soon and very quickly. I got the download. I've known about this information for years, but I got a download where I saw it happening. Like I saw it happening this morning. So I can't give a date. I don't know an exact date. I wish I did, but I can tell you that I know it's going to happen very soon. And I can also tell you that the Spirit spoke to me. And I told my children a couple of, maybe last week, and said, buy more dinars. And that was before. And I told my children, I said, Iraq is about to be released and they're about to announce their sovereignty. And did not we get an article that I posted yesterday that let us know they're about to release their sovereignty? When do you think it will be announced that the U.S. is sovereign? Soon. Are you aware that they're trying to pass, I can't see that, regarding forces and force the, you know what, and remove you from your home? Yeah, in New York City is leading this. Yes, I am aware that they're trying to do that, but you know, they won't be allowed to. And if they come to your home, use your Second Amendment right. When do I think the United States is going to be? You know, they've let us know that the United States is sovereign, like in coded ways, covertly, when certain political leaders would speak, mainly Donald Trump on you know, as he was going on his way out, by speaking in front of the flag without the golden fringe. So the flag with the golden fringe lets you know that we were under maritime law and that was the United States incorporated, still in power. But once you saw that removed, that meant that the United States was not in power. It should be announced very, very soon. I think 2022 is going to be an amazing time for that. Do you think the law will pass? Which law, Sister Latanya? Do you think the law will pass? Which one? Yes, Ronnie, we have to fight back. You're sovereign. You're not a slave. Kanye West told you some people some people are slaves by tacit agreement and agree to be a slave. You are not a slave. You are sovereign. You are a free individual. Protect yourself. I want to get back to when will it be announced? Some people are thinking that martial law might be declared because some countries are saying that, you know, they're starting to do lockdowns. I don't know if the people are going to go for that anymore. But if that does happen, just know that there will probably be, the mainstream media will probably be overtaken, or there'll be an emergency broadcasting system announcement that will announce us being liberated and free during the time that people are locked down. But I don't know if they'll do a lockdown to do that. I see it happening very soon. Some people say around Christmas time, but I think we're going to go into a new year, a different speech, a different people having a different reality. The quantum banking system, the way I understand it is it's a sentient living system that was put into place by our benevolent extraterrestrial brothers and sisters that can actually read your thoughts and read your intentions. So this is the new system that will replace the banking system that was controlled by the elite and bankers that were related to them or that had an agreement with them. So the quantum financial system is a system that works on a technology that was given to us by our extraterrestrial family members. We each have a quantum account, from my understanding. And I'll post an article about that. And so let me go back to, so we will have something called, what do you call it? Electronic credits, kind of like money in the banking system that you see is not really money, but it's like digital assets or whatever. So we'll have something like that in our quantum system, and we'll be able to make transactions with those credits on a quantum system. And if you have a nefarious intention to buy drugs or to transact sex or trafficking or something like that, then it will read your intentions and not allow the transaction to go through. That's my understanding. But if you have a benevolent intention, it will allow that benevolent intention to go through. And thank you for that question. Please remind me to post an article about that. I'm looking through the questions. I hope I answered that. I don't know which law you're talking about. Do I think it would be passed? What else? Thank you, beautiful Dr. Pruitt. Always so knowledgeable. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those wonderful words. I love you all. I don't have this knowledge of my own. As you all know, a lot of us, the creator. Okay, thank you, Dr. Sister Cecilia L. She said the information is correct. QFS is ran on our ancient technology called blockchain technology. Thank you, Goddess. Somebody says, I am over here crying tears of joy. My mama told me all my wealth will be returned to me in abundance. I'm truly grateful to be here. Praise the Most High. The information, a lot of us are receiving downloads right now, and a lot of us are, all of us have been seated here by somebody, but a lot of us have decided to come back so that we can help each other evolve and liberate the planet. Sister Latanya says the law that New York City is leading mimics what's happening in Australia. New York City is another level of controls, wondering if the people will rise. What was going on in Australia has also been actually been neutralized. The Australians are fighting back. So we can learn a lot from this Australians. New York, if anybody here from New York, look up some videos about how Australia fought back. They didn't allow the people to just come and snatch them up and inject them. They are fighting. They are doing massive rallies. They took to the streets. They picked up arms. They will not allow themselves to be enslaved. So yes, New York City was leading that charge. New York City was very wicked, but Cuomo has been taken out. So a lot of the leaders have been taken out. So some of the things that you see propagated on the mainstream media is to incite fear and to make you be complicit and agree to it. So just don't agree to it and protect yourself and your family. Blessings from the soil of the Erie, the longest lockdown in the world, and all must rise and take back take back our nation as a unity. As a unity. Are you from Australia, Karina? Gracias, obrigada, I am crying. Build back better, Bill, was the noose. Okay. So we're going to, those of you who are listening to me, who are invested in currencies, and those of you who have a humanitarian heart, those of you who have silver and gold, or those of you who are just going to use the monies that will be released back to you from NESARA, you that have a humanitarian heart we're going to build a loving society. We're going to help the homeless. We're going to help create businesses. We're going to help those that were in prison. We're going to help build up the roads. We're going to do so many beautiful, amazing things that we've always wanted to do, but now we will have the resources to do. We're sovereign, and we need to listen to the Moors. They are correct. They talk about correcting our status. That alone will liberate the mind. When you go through the process of correcting your status, yes, it will liberate the mind. It's not necessary in this new era into which we're going to correct it, because everybody will be considered sovereign. But if you want to do that, it will help to liberate your mind, to help you understand the importance of that. But the reason why it's not necessary in this new era is because we're going to go back to the Republic. The Republic is being restored. This is why I keep trying to tell people, indigenous people classified as Black, is that Republic that Donald Trump speaks about and that everybody's talking about, that our patriots, our European brothers and sisters talk about. The Republic is the government that we helped to create. It's your government. The Constitution for the United States, it's what your ancestors helped to create. We're returning back to that. And when we return to that, we all on this land will be sovereign. So you can choose to correct your status if you desire. And it's a wonderful thing to go through to liberate your mind or to help you understand the importance of it. But if you don't, just declare yourself as sovereign. You are what you say you are. That's why the Moors kept saying, stop calling yourself Black, because the etymology of Black is blank, void, slave, poverty, non-existent. It was a status. It was a legal status. The status of white was actually a status of prosperity. It's a status meaning you own, or that you are prosperous and you have land and wealth. So when they're asking you, are you black or white? They're asking you what your legal status is. And some of us just agree to call ourselves black because that's the way we were conditioned. But liberate your minds. You're sovereign. That's what you are. You are a spiritual being. You are consciousness that have decided to take on a meat suit to experience this life. And a lot of us have decided to be here right now so that we can witness the liberation of the planet. And many of you watching right now are not only witnessing, but you're aiding in the liberation of the planet. Everything that you're doing to aid is valuable. So please know that if you're writing, if you're a journalist, if you're reporting, if you're talking to your family members, if you're doing videos, if you're helping your spouses, there's been a lot of division. Unfortunately, they really did a number on marriages and families, dividing us. But if you've been trying to drop jewels of truth, you're helping to liberate the planet. And listen, even if people have not awakened, you've planted the seed. So when all this information comes out, they're going to have to come to you and they're going to apologize. They're going to apologize because ego is going to, this whole ego thing that's kept people haughty and not listening, it's going to dissipate. So just know that you are aiding in the liberation of humanity, and we greatly appreciate you. Another great resource that aligns with this truth is Saving Brahma via Secret Energy. Oh, I don't know about that. So much alignment with your downloads. Praise the Most High. I align, sister. Thank you, Sister Latanya. So, somebody said, excuse me, mucus. Correct your status on paper and verbally. Research Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's what this person is saying. I personally, I think prophets serve their purpose, but I think it's really just to awaken the prophet that's in you. Oh, Ire is in Ireland. Okay, everybody. Excuse me. Let me get off camera and wipe my nose. Okay. I've taken a lot of your time, and I just want to say thank you so much. I didn't know Ire was in Ireland. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for interacting with me. Thank you so much for uplifting me. Thank you all for encouraging me. You all have sent me messages. You all have asked me questions. You all support me. I mean, you support me so much. You like my statuses. You engage in healthy debate. You send articles. You post articles. You just send me so much love. You have really increased my vibrations. You have given me the energy and the strength to continue. You have uplifted me. You have fed my soul. You have encouraged me. Even when people, sometimes they don't know to be positive, you'll tell me, don't focus on that. Focus on those of us who love you and who are supporting you and who are helping you, who are your soul family. I thank you for that. I want to thank every last one of you. I also want to take the special time to thank those of you who are not indigenous. There are some people who are not indigenous, who are not brown, who are not classified as black, that have really helped to uplift me and encourage us and to aid in the liberation of the planet. And I want to say thank you. From all over the world, you have supported me. From all over the world, you have shown me love. And the Creator allowed me to see that it's not about blood. It's not about skin tone. It's about soul. Who is your soul family? Who resonates on the same frequency as you? Who helps raise your vibration? Who sends you love? Who honors you? Who reverences you? Who respects you? Who loves you? Who encourages you? That is what's important. So, and that is what this era is about, helping you to see what really matters: love, peace, joy, and the soul of an individual. So I appreciate you, all of you from all over the world, and I love you. And I know this has been lengthy. I just want to make sure I answer all questions. If I haven't answered any questions sufficiently, please please. And if Sister Deidre Russell is still here, Sister Russell, if there needs to be more clarity brought to anything that I said, would you please pull the cards? And if you do decide to do a reading to pull the cards, what we'll do is we'll put up your Cash App so that people can support your gift. And maybe you can help us and enlighten us and help us to prepare. Maybe you could even answer the question that I'm not able to answer about when this is going to happen. All I know is very soon. I got the download this morning that a whole bunch tranches of money was being released and dumped into financial systems. So if you can do a reading that would bring clarity, I greatly appreciate it. Gratitude to the Creator. Yes, and clearing out the path for abundance for all. So it's important, family, to love each other. The old paradigms are disappearing. The paradigms like, racism, hatred, violence, sexism, all that's being changed. So prepare yourselves, because we're going into a whole new era, and it's going to flood in quickly. Another thing I want to say is, I don't know exactly how this is going to happen, but I do know that our extraterrestrial family is cleaning up the water. So the water that was poisoned and meant to calcify our pineal gland, it's being cleaned. All the chemicals are being washed out. The chemtrails, my son Douglas have been speaking on chemtrails, and he was ridiculed. People make fun of him and he would get on platforms and talk about it. Unfortunately, because that was his mission, to go and tell people how to guard themselves from the chemtrails. And he taught my family that. That was released to cause a lot of dementia, heart attacks, amnesia. It caused, what do you call it when people get old and they can't remember it anymore? I can't think of it, but that came from the chemtrails. A lot of cancers, a lot of diseases came from the chemtrails. So you would see people that were eating healthy or eating semi-healthy that were still getting very sick. And that was because of the aluminum and all the bad things that they were releasing into the air. But the extraterrestrial family, the good ones, have neutralized that. Dementia. Thank you. Alzheimer's. I could not think of it. Yes. A lot of people got that actually from the chemtrails that was being released, as well as some of the jabs that we got as children. They were being activated at a certain time to cause us to become really sick. So the extraterrestrial families have neutralized a lot of those things. So a lot of what you're seeing being released in the air, whereas some of it was chemtrails, some of it is also something being released to neutralize that or to clean it up. You will start seeing lakes also pop up. And it will look like they've been pop up, but really they've been cloaked or they've been covered. We couldn't see them. They will spring up and they will be clean, fresh, healing waters. Also, the deserts that are like in California and in the Western Hemisphere, those are man-made. We were taught that they were natural. They were not. Yes, what's being released in the air is actually healing us now. And if that were not the case, you would see a whole lot of people, actually more people getting sick from chemtrails. But so you're going to start to see the lakes, rivers, oceans popping up that were cloaked. You're going to see the land that was cloaked or that was kept from us or that was hidden underground actually come up from the earth. And actually the cloaks will be removed so that we can see that there is an abundance of land. And so the temperature will also change. The coldness that we experience will change and it will become more like tropical. The planet was originally tropical. We will go back to that. The plants will change. And it's going to, I don't know if it's going to be like automatically or it's going to be an evolution, but I do know it's going to be back to what it was supposed to. It's going to look like a Garden of Eden. The extraterrestrial family will also contact you. So each of you, you've heard of guardian angels. Each of you has one or several guardian angels. And so the way that translates in other worlds is your extraterrestrial guardian. They will contact you because they've been with you all along. And they will contact you and encourage you. They're going to give you ideas for your humanitarian projects. They're going to help you make good divine decisions for your life. And then at some point, I was taught by a mentor. At some point, they're going to take you through, what did he call it? It's like a quantum portal. They're going to take you through this portal, or through this, I can't remember the exact word, but what's going to happen is when you go through this experience with your guardian, your whole body is going to change, and you're going to become a crystalline being, and you're going to live forever. When you have this experience, I don't know the timeline, you also won't need to eat and drink food as we eat and drink food at this time. You will be able to absorb energy to nourish your new crystalline body. You won't have to, you won't mate and have a sexual encounters the same way. You will still procreate, but it will be differently. You won't have to use these modalities like, some people use to manifest. Like I've talked about creating sigils in order to manifest. And you won't need a sigil. You won't need cards. You won't need magic. You won't need anything. You will just be able to manifest by your being, by thinking thoughts into existence, just like our galactic family. So you see, the Galactic Federation is made up of beings from all across the world, all across the universe or the multiverse. And we are either one of the last or the last species that was not a part of that Galactic Federation, because we had not fully evolved, and we were trying to evolve. So when we were left here on the planet, we were actually supposed to evolve. But when those nefarious beings saw the abundance of the planet and they saw how amazing we were, they came to the planet, and they created slavery and different systems and paradigms to keep us fighting each other and to enslave us, to keep us poor, to keep us from our gold and our silver, which was healing us and aiding in our ascension, so that we could not ascend. And then another thing that they created to keep us from ascending, I think it was it Enlil? You guys that know the story, I think it was Enlil that actually created religion. Enlil is Yahweh. So Enlil is an extraterrestrial being that created religion in order to keep you from ascending, to have you to call on something or someone outside of yourself. That's not to say that religion is not a good thing. I'm just saying that the way in which we were taught religion was to look outside of yourself for healing, to look outside of yourself for manifesting, to look outside of ourselves for leadership. So that whole religious paradigm will have to be done away with. It's going to upset and unseat a lot of people, but a lot of religious paradigms, I've learned a lot from religion, don't get me wrong. I've learned a lot from Christ consciousness, or elevating in my consciousness. Even Christ said he didn't want to be worshipped. He said he didn't want to be worshipped. So you have a Christ consciousness. You think you have a fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit, or example of the Spirit, or evidence of the Spirit, of evidence of having consciousness in you from the Creator, is that you are loving, peaceful, joyous, you have meekness, gentleness, you forgive, you have forbearance, all those things that I think that are written in Galatians 5:22, and then go to Galatians 6:1. That's how you know you have evidence of the Creator living in you. But you don't need to necessarily look to a being to lead you. So that whole religious paradigm is going to get changed, and it's actually being dismantled so that you can evolve, because it was put in place to stop you from evolving. And a lot of your religious leaders, a lot of pastors, a lot of mosque leaders, a lot of priests, they were actually, a lot of them, not all of them, in cahoots with secret societies to keep you from evolving. So that's why you're going to see a great falling away of the church. I made that announcement next year. This year, you're going to see a great falling away. You're going to see a lot of pastors being arrested. You're going to see a lot of people coming out saying that pastors were molesting them. You're going to have a lot of women confessing that they've had sexual relationships with these pastors. You're going to have a lot of people going online, speaking live, exposing people. You're going to have people reading people's text messages between pastors and beings, because a lot of these pastors were actually, not all of them, because some of them really have a good heart and really, really want to do good for humanity. But a lot of them are actually secret society members. So they pledged with secret societies. I have a lot of friends that are, that are part of Black Greek fraternities and secret societies. And I don't think they're nefarious, but I do know that some of them actually, some people who pledged actually are nefarious. So some of these pastors are in cahoots with secret societies, with your malevolent or bad faction of the Freemasons, and they have a relationship with them and contracts with them, and they are paid to tell you to take the you-know-what in your arm to kill you off. They don't care. They're just making money. They are paid to keep you dumb, to keep you looking to them for direction instead of looking to yourself. And that's why so many of us are poor. That's why you have so many homeless people. That's why you have so many people hungry. That's why you have so many people on drugs in the same communities with all these churches, because the churches, unfortunately, don't care about the evolution of humanity. I don't care what they say out of their mouths. A lot of them do not care. Or a lot of them are just ignorant. So you're going to see a great falling away from religion. Islam was created by the Catholic Church. All religion was created by the Catholic Church, which was run by the Black Pope, which was run by what's called which was run by the Pope, and he was controlled by what's called the Black Pope. The Black Pope is not a skin color. The Black Pope, is a nefarious, dark energy that controlled the popes and the religious leaders. Those are the ones, your Catholic Church, your popes, that created every religion you see on the planet. So you do have good, benevolent teachings that come out of religion, because, spirituality is something that is universal. But the darkness was created to keep you suppressed and oppressed. And that's why you're going to see a lot of people that starting to wake up to astrology and numerology, because some religious texts actually were coded, and they were actually trying to give us downloads based on the astrology and based on numerology, but nefarious beings misinterpreted those spiritual texts and ancient texts in order to keep us enslaved. So that's it, family. I don't want to bore your patience, but I did want to answer those questions. When do I think it's going to happen? I think within the next few days, we're going to start to see things happen very quickly. I think a lot of you are going to go into 2022 very wealthy. A lot of you are going to go into the new year already wealthy. So when people say NESARA is not real, it's not happening, they just don't know, because people have already come out and said that they've looked into their mortgages and their mortgages have been discharged. Their credit cards have been discharged. Their car loans have been discharged. So you're going to see a lot of money that was held up from you from your birth certificate bond. So when you were born, your mom signed a birth certificate, not knowing that this was something that they were going to put on the stock market to trade as a bond between each other and make money. Well, that money is going to be returned to you. So when you see, I don't know if this money is going to be in your bank account, in your quantum account. I don't know how it's going to happen, but you're going to see it, and you're going to see it very soon, and it's going to happen very quickly. A lot of that is your money anyway being returned to you. What else, Spirit? What else would you have me to say? The Spirit is saying that those of you that had misunderstandings between you and your spouses, this is the time to try to heal those and mend those relationships. If you've had problems with your family members, friends, employers, and this applies to me too, this is the time to go and mend those relationships, because there were programs put in place to cause division so that the family cannot be united and see, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. Genetics and economics are one. I got it. Thank you, Spirit. If they keep you separated and divided, you will not be able to pass your wealth down to your posterity. You will not be able, you won't even have the mindset or the frame of mind to use that money and pass it down to your children and your children's children and your grandchildren and to your community. Your mind will be fragmented. If your relationships are broken up, you won't be focused on how to create generational wealth, how to create businesses, how to do good with the money. And so they will be able to, because of your disharmony, steal your money. So this is the time to mend relationships. This is the time. Mothers, you are the central figures of your family members. You should be vetting out who your sons marry. You should be vetting out who your daughters marry. I'm calling on all the elders right now to get back to our station. And we need the men elders. But the women elders, you are naturally intuitive. You are naturally spiritual. You are naturally in tune to the earth. You need to be very involved in the mating of your children so that you can be careful how that wealth is passed down and how that wealth is to be spent and utilized through your family and your lineage. So women, let's get on our posts. Let's be vigilant. Let's look at who our sons and daughters are dating. Let's vet out properly. Let's ask the Creator and our higher selves how to use wisdom to speak to our husbands, to how to use wisdom to speak to our children, how to use wisdom to speak to our grandchildren, how to use wisdom to help guide our men. Because, in this paradigm that we have right now, the men are the head, but the woman, you will guide that head. Now we're going to move into a different era where you'll see more women with more wealth, so that the woman won't have to prostitute herself out for wealth, and so that men won't use women to prostitute themselves for wealth. So you're going to have more wealth women. You're going to have more knowledge. So ask your higher self how to use that wisdom to lead your families. Okay. Because in the parents, a lot of people are still coming from the third dimension where they're greedy, they're hungry, and they're going to try to get to your wealth through your sons. So women, vet out these women who are coming to your sons to get to his wealth. Women, be vigilant about who is around your house, about who your husband is around. I'm not saying that men don't have control. I'm not speaking to the men right now because that's not who Spirit has asked me to speak to. Women, let's tap into our higher selves and get back to guiding our families into spirituality, into love, into wealth. Let's vet. Let's pass down the wisdom that's given to us in such a way that they can understand it. So the scripture used to say, train up a child in the way that he should go. But a very evolved friend of mine, who's not indigenous, she's a woman who's a psychologist, very evolved. She told me a long time ago that what the text actually meant is that you're supposed to train up a child according to his bend, according to his personality, according to his characteristics, according to his inclination, according to who he is, and not necessarily train him up according to a particular way. Because each child has come to earth and decided to come here for a different purpose and with different gifts and with different intentions. So we mothers need to learn how to train up a child according to their bend. So women, you are at the central stage right now. You are very important, and your voice has been suppressed, and all those things about who you are has been suppressed. But remember what Grand Sharik said in a reading. He said, there is an unwavering truth that nature holds woman as the central generating power of life and the key to civilization. You have the power of life. You have the power of death and life actually in your tongue. So be in this new era, be very careful about how we speak to our companions, about how we speak to our children, everybody around us. So make sure your language is in such a way that it elevates people. So woman is the central generating power of life and the key to civilization. If you want to know where civilization is headed, look at the woman. And that's why you had these massive agendas to cause women to be thoughts, to be strippers, to be, things that we wouldn't necessarily be. Yes, some of us did that just for money. Then a lot of us did that and pornography because we were sex trafficked. And that's why I ask men, please don't watch pornography. We've all been complicit into helping with this. Sex trafficking and trafficking of children. If we watched pornography, if we gone to strip clubs, we didn't know, because a lot of those are actually victims of child sex trafficking, whether they were trafficked through CPS or they were trafficked through men. And one of my friends from Portsmouth, Ohio told me, he said a lot of women went missing from Portsmouth because they were told they were going to be made models, young women, beautiful women. And they were taken to Chicago. Mothers, this is why I'm speaking to you. Please be vigilant. Don't allow your children, your women or men to become models unless you know what's going on, because these women were told that they were going to be models. They were shipped to Chicago. And then once they got to Chicago, they were trafficked. They were sex trafficked. They were pimped out. And they were just made expendable, and then they were killed off, because you have to kill them according to people who are wicked in order for that information not to get out. So a lot of women went missing from the small town in which I was raised. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, but I was partially raised in my teenage years in Portsmouth, Ohio. So one of my friends told me that a lot of women went missing because they were trafficked, thinking they were going to become models. So women, you are the key to civilization. So train your daughters that you're beautiful. Men, be in your daughters' lives and your sons' lives and let them know that you will provide for them so that you won't have to see your daughter sliding down a pole. Now, I know somebody who actually was a stripper, and she told me herself, once you start making that fast money, it's hard to stop. And I asked her, how did you start? She said, I started because I was told I was beautiful. And I became a model. And the next thing I know, I was told, okay, I was fully clothed. And they say, well, just show your shoulder. So you drop a part of your robe, and they start taking pictures. Oh, you know what? Why don't you just disrobe? And then you robe and you just have on this bikini, and you're thinking you're just modeling, but really get to the root of why anybody would need to see your naked body anyway. Why do you need to model? So then they would get these women. Okay, well, now you're in a bikini. Okay, it's okay. Just take a bra strap down. Then the next thing you know, they're telling them to take off all their clothes. And then they get caught up. The next thing you know, you're sliding down a pole for money. Then you need a man to protect you when you're sliding down the pole, because then you have other men that come in that try to grope on you or try to rape you or molest you. And it's a whole industry of mistreating and trafficking men and children. And then next thing you know, you get on drugs, she was telling me, because you don't like what you're doing, but you're trapped in a cycle. And now you're on drugs, so now you'll do anything. You allow yourself to be abused. You allow yourself to be trafficked. You allow yourself to be prostituted. And then once you're a prostitute, you need a pimp. So you hire a man to protect you from other men. In this dispensation in which we are living, it has been very unhealthy and unsafe for women and children. A lot of men have bought into denigrating women, disrespecting women, watching pornography. And the pornography is not healthy for relationships and is not healthy for your psyche. 90% of men, from what, one of my sons told me who actually studied this, have been involved in or are addicted to pornography. I also have a brother who was over male ministry over all of Northern California. And he told me himself from all his studies and his research, he has a master's degree and working with men, that many or a great number of pastors are even addicted to pornography. So a portion of that is going to be child pornography. Pastors, deacons, doctors, lawyers, addicted to pornography, addicted to mistreating women and children. All of this is coming out right now. People made fun of us that were talking about tunnels where women were trafficked and children were trafficked underneath these tunnels, but it's now coming out that this is the case. Military is liberating a great majority, and those children that are being liberated from those tunnels, a lot of women were actually bred to have children against their will, and all of these children were mutilated, killed for their adrenochrome, the blood that comes from them that gives these nefarious beings a high. And then some of these children were, beat, mutilated, or whatever. They will be the first ones to get access to the med beds to cure them and also to wipe their memory from all the pain that they endured. And then the rest of us will have access to them. But a lot of this is now coming out that this has happened to women and children. But this is a new era. It's an era of joy. I want to end on a bright note. It's an era of peace. 209 countries agreed to be liberated. They agreed to have peace treaties between themselves. There will be no more wars. There will be no more killing of children and women. And there will be no more violence. And it's up to the woman as the key to civilization to help clean up the planet. I always hear, and I've been one to say it too, like, why is there so much responsibility on the woman? It shouldn't be. It's everybody's responsibility to clean the planet. But those of you who know, understand that women came first. Now, this is not an argument. That's why, everything we've been taught is in reverse. Ancient texts, and also, what is his name? There's a man out of Africa, Credo Mufa, something like that. Credo. Oh, I can't think of his name. He taught this. An ancient text will teach you that when we first came here as beings, some people call it women, some people call it androgynous beings. But man came from woman. That's why women are the key to civilization. Man came from woman. We were taught that a woman came from the rib of the man. Maybe that's an analogy for something else. But the truth is everybody came from a woman. Remember Nimna? NESARA? Yes, Mutwa, thank you, King, Royal Kennard, is it Kennard Johnson L? Thank you, Mutwa, that was his name. He said that when we first came here, we looked more as androgynous beings. The Credo Mutwa, thank you. Androgynous beings, and some people interpret that as a woman or having feminine characteristics. And so this is why when everybody comes out, they come out with an umbilical cord. Yes. So every last one of us have an umbilical cord. So if you have an umbilical cord, that means your umbilical cord was attached. I mean, not what you call it, a navel. Everybody has a navel. If you have a navel, it means your navel was attached to an umbilical cord. I don't know how to say the word. If you were attached to that cord was attached to a womb. That womb was attached to what? A woman. So we all came from woman. And yes, there was a time that women would procreate through parthenogenesis, and there are still some creatures that procreate that way. So I want to tell you that a lot of the onus of how the society runs happens to be on the shoulders of the women. So you see, I don't know if that's fair or not, but I take it as actually a great compliment. It's a great compliment to me that I am the one that will teach a nation, that it's my responsibility to teach my children and my posterity how to behave, how to mate, how to pass down wealth and create generational wealth. So a lot of the responsibility is upon the woman, but take that as a blessing. Take that as a wonderful gift from the multiverse to have something that important. And the man's role is actually to aid in our role, to help us, to uplift us, to support us, to provide and protect us from negative energy so that we can do our role to teach the nation to generate and pass down generational wealth. See, under matriarchy, wealth was passed down through the woman. The woman owned the land and the wealth. So it was a blessing for the man to mate with the woman, because in that way he would be able to have some wealth. But all of her children would receive wealth regardless of who the fathers were. And I said this in the beginning of my dissertation, whereas once patriarchy came along, you can read Merlin Stone's book on When God Was a Woman. When what happened was Aryans came out of the caves. They were a warrior group. They were, fighting. They were like Vikings, I suppose. That they came, and when they saw the whole world worshiped women and the whole world had female gods as well as male gods, they didn't really know, they weren't evolved how to appreciate that. That's my nice way of saying they were ravenous creatures. So they just weren't evolved. So they went around the planet decimating the planet from female gods, and the gods that we worshiped, and female replicas of God and images of God. They destroyed them, and they took the land from the woman. They didn't have a love or regard for women like everybody on the planet. It is against a man's nature to hate women, to disrespect women, to mistreat women, to abuse women, to rape women or children. But they have been installed programs through music, through vibrations, through teachings, and through religion to hate the God from which they came, which is the woman. So when these Aryans came on the planet, they decimated our gods. And that's why women don't even know how to necessarily be a woman or how to tap into her spiritual nature, because we no longer have that replica of what a goddess is, what she looks like, how is she to behave. So they destroyed the female god. So you want to read Merlin Stone's book, When God Was a Woman, and you want to look at this brother's book who wrote after her that said When God Was a Black Woman and Why She Isn't Now. Basically, he was just upset that she didn't say that women all across the planet were melanated. But she did give credence to indigenous peoples by saying that the original people had female gods. When they decimated the gods, the female gods, then you only had a masculine god who was a warrior, who was angry, who pillaged, who fought, because that's the man's job to protect, right? But she didn't have that balance that showed the woman as loving, as a teacher, as being beautiful, as being a part of nature. And so under those matriarchal societies, you actually had equity where everybody was treated with parity and treat with fairness and love. Because when a woman she's going to typically at her core, at her nature, give to everybody and make sure everybody has. And so once they decimated the female gods, they killed a lot of the women, or they raped them in order to strip the woman of her divine essence and make her angry and bitter. And then they took a great portion of women and put them alone on islands like Lesbos Island. And that's where you get the word lesbian from, because women were on the island alone. They started, having relations with each other. And I'm not saying that's the core of lesbianism. I'm just talking about the Isle of Lesbos that happened. So when those Aryans came out of the mountains, this warrior group, they didn't have a regard for women. And so they created, and they probably had some type of relationship with these negative extraterrestrials because of the things that they did that was so heinous. That's not really what we would call, natural to us, to natural as mankind. I don't even know. I don't want to call us human beings, because I just heard that the etymology of the word humankind is monster. I was like, what? I didn't research that, so don't necessarily quote me. I have to look at it. I don't know if it's in the etymology dictionary or Black's Law dictionary. I have to look it up. So whoever we are, we as beings, we're not at our core evil or wicked. We're loving and kind, but we've had paradigms installed to make us this way. So they created a paradigm of marriage in the way that they knew it, which was to control, which was to control the womb of the woman. They created a paradigm whereby, so they took the land from the woman, they took her wealth, and it was over a time period. And this is my research from Merlin Stone and a lot of other, it's in Black's Law. Thank you, Brother Reggie. I didn't know. Okay, it's in Black's Law dictionary that human means monster. They took the land from the woman because, again, if a woman has land, she's going to pass it down to all her children, regardless of who the fathers are. They made us think that there's something wrong with having more than one father. That's neither here nor there. But it just really depends on the society in which you live and the paradigm in which that you agree to. So to which you agree. So what they did was they created a different type of marriage where the men actually, so these Aryan men took control of the woman's property. And then that way they decided who they would marry instead of the women deciding. They decided who they would marry. And then now they have control of the woman's prosperity and land. And they said, now that I'm married to this woman, I can control her womb. I can make sure she only has children by me. And I can guarantee that only my seed receives the wealth. And that's how you got that whole paradigm shifting from matriarchy to patriarchy. It was to enslave the woman, to take her property from her, to take from her children, to only make sure the seed of these particular men was propagated and passed down. So having said that, I want you all to start thinking on a higher level, to start thinking about what we can do to help the entire planet. My son Dexter, who used to be a pastor, taught me this. He said so many people are focusing on in college and high school and all different programs. They'll ask you, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? But they never ask you, what's your 100-year plan? What's your 1,000-year plan? Because see, while you're thinking about the weekend and partying and going out and whatever, you have other people that's thinking about a 1,000-year plan and how to pass down generational wealth. So you're about to be all wealthy. You're about to be elated. Joy is going to go across. It's going to be like a thunderous explosion of joy. And there's going to be like a jubilee. That's what the creators, it's a jubilee. It's a global jubilee that we're all about to experience. So get ready, look for it, plan for it, get excited about it, get happy, raise your vibrations. Prepare your children, prepare your family, and heal your relationships. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for gracing me with your time. Namaste. Peace and prosperity be upon us all.